Hey everyone! Today let's talk about startup pitch. This week, just a couple of days ago, we had another VC pitching session on In Mind, where Web3 founders pitched their projects to crypto VC investors. The pitching session was dedicated to gamify, NFT, and metaverse verticals. And you know what? I noticed some repeated mistakes that founders continue doing from session to session, despite the fact that we are doing a call with every founder during the evaluation process before the pitch session, and we give them feedback, recommendations, and instructions on how to get better prepared for the live pitching session to investors. I want to recall one more time and to pay your attention to some typical mistakes that you should avoid doing during VC pitching sessions on In Mind or other startup events. And the first mistake is paying too much attention and spending too much time on a slide about market opportunity. Some startups are spending really extensive time explaining how NFT or gamify market evolves. What are the projections? How big it will grow in, for example, 5-year or 10-year time frame. But if you are pitching to the target selected audience of crypto and Web3 savvy VC investors, they are already quite aware about market opportunities. Agree? Then why would you spend so much time on delivering to them information that they are aware about? It's okay if you are talking to new VCs in Web3. But for crypto VC investors, it is better to skip this slide or to make it very short, just a few seconds, highlighting some most important numbers about market projections. Second mistake, which is quite similar to the first one, is being too much stuck on the team slide. Team is indeed very important, but it is not necessary to present one by one all your team members. Explain their background, describe their previous achievements, name all your advisors and their titles, etc. I observed startups spending around 1 minute of time just going through the team slide. And I remind you, the overall pitch is limited to 5 minutes. So if you are short in time, if you are presenting on a live event to investors, please be quite laconic and straightforward. It's enough to highlight only the core founding team members and their main achievements that can present to investors their expertise in your specific vertical and that they're capable to deliver. No need to name all your team members. You can leave it for the future due diligence process and longer follow-up calls with investors. The third mistake is related to startup traction. Luckily, all the founders, or majority of the founders on our pitching sessions, they have the slide about traction. But look, very often I see that these slides are not just very laconic, they do not highlight the most important traction part. Remember, investors want to see what did you achieve so far to prove the product market fit. How are you going to make a real business, profitable business out of your project? In this way, generic traction slides about partnership with different blockchain protocols or market players, or, I saw a lot of slides where startups present partnership with cybersecurity companies doing smart contract audits and so on and so forth. This is so much irrelevant to the real traction, and it is really pity to see that during the Q&A session, if investors are asking right questions, founders are delivering outstanding traction results, but they are not highlighted in the pitch deck at all. And if investors do not ask their questions, they will never know that you have real traction behind. So keep attention to your traction slides and do your best to deliver and highlight the most important traction metrics that you've reached so far. Mistake number 4 is boring, monotone speech. Even if you are very, very tired, or if you feel really uncomfortable pitching on the public. Actually, I also felt the same, and it took me years of hard work on myself to start doing these videos and moderating pitch sessions. So, does not matter how do you feel when you are pitching to investors, you should have burning eyes, excitement, and confidence in your startup. Just try to look at it from investors' point of view. Will you invest in a startup if the founder himself is not confident enough, if he's not excited by what he's building? Don't forget, psychological aspects also matter, as well as the chemistry between the founder and investor. Even if you feel you are not in a good mood or whatever, do your best and act if necessary, but try to present energy, excitement, and big believer in what you are building. Don't allow yourself to be boring, to be tired while pitching to VCs. Lastly, the mistake number 5 is unclear value proposition. Very often, I see that during a 5-minute pitch, investors and majority of people in the audience still do not understand what the startup is building. Their deck is full of buzzwords and tech jargon. And please remember that even if you pitch to crypto-savvy VCs, they are not obliged to know all the tech terms and to read between the lines. If you do not have a clear, simple explanation of what you are building and why, then you can fail to attract investor interest. And that's a big problem with a lot of Web3 founders. Moreover, it's not only about 5 minutes pitch. Believe me, when I have calls with startup founders from Web3 and crypto verticals, sometimes it takes me more than an hour just to understand what they are building, what audience they are targeting, and what problems are they solving. And that's because they really struggle to switch their mood from the typical, crypto and Web3 entrepreneur jargon to talking with average common people. If you fail to deliver clear value proposition in simple wordings while talking to investors, then how will you be able to deliver this to your potential clients, users, customers? That is what investors have in their heads. And that is what you should remember about. So before pitching to investors, try to take your pitch deck, go with it to your non-crypto savvy friends and present them what you are building. If they do not understand it, ask what is unclear and try to explain in simple words. Try to explain one more time and then ask them how did they understand it. And maybe what they will tell you about your product and your project will be a great insight for you on how to formulate your value proposition in a simple and clear way. For this video, we are done. I just wanted to highlight these 5 mistakes that I recently saw and noticed during our pitching session a couple of days ago. By the way, I will put the link to the recording of this VC pitching session in the description of this video, so feel free to watch it yourself and let's see if you notice the same mistakes or not. And I want to remind you guys, the goal of the startup pitch is not to sell your project to investors and raise funding right after the session. The main goal of the startup pitch is to convert investors into the follow-up meeting, capture their attention, and make them eager to talk to you later, to analyze your project, to have a longer call, to start due diligence process. So don't even try to include everything that you have in one short startup pitch. Remember this conversion goal. And when you design your startup pitch deck and when you are preparing your pitch, always keep in mind if every slide, every word, every sentence brings you closer to the goal of converting investors into the next second meeting or not. Thank you for watching this video. And I will really appreciate if you put the like and share it with your audience.